Hello,
There we
ladies and gentlemen,
go.
boys and girls. We're back on the Movie Club Strikes Back Hangout. This is a wee thing we've not done with all of us here for quite a while now. It's where a bunch of us like-minded movie enthusiasts get together and talk about movies or TV shows. Sometimes, if we can stay on topic, which is not often. So, yeah. Why don't we go down the roster and see who we've got with us today?
My name is Baxhorn. Sometimes I talk crap about movies and animes, but mostly I go online and stalk your videos and put them into the Movie Club Strikes Back playlists in order for other people to stalk your videos easier. Next.
Christopher, I've got a couple of, Easy Chair reviews where you can see some reviews of movies for Movie Club Strikes Back, and also on the Twitter at Review Easy.
And my name is Meta, aka Meta Medicine. You can stalk me anywhere under that tag, either Twitter or YouTube or Instagram. I am Movie Club's only Danish person, and I usually talk about 50 Shades of Grey, and tonight I will be mentioning George Clooney for my fallen sister Kiwi, who's not here tonight, and I'm not wearing pants.
Hello, I'm Alan. I'm Mr. Hairy Brett. I can't figure out which hand to put up. That's my channel. If you haven't seen me before, I do 4 videos each and every week. Normally random waffle, and then a vlog on a Friday, and I kind of do a movie clubby thing on a Tuesday as well.
I'm Jenny. I'm at Ticket Home to Jenny on the YouTubes and Ticket Home to Jen on the Twitters, and I'm one day going to be able to reel off those two without getting them confused. And I mostly do movie reviews and anime reviews and whatever else I can think of. Sometimes I dance randomly because it's fun and I need to do that every now and then. And I'm kind of tired and delirious like normal on a Saturday night, so yay!
Hey guys, my name is Tor, and you can find me at Tor's Times on basically any part of the internet that is not unsavory. And I am currently riding an exercise bike while we talk, so yay! Multitasking.
My name is Servitorix on everywhere, every place you can think of, both savory and unsavory alike, on the internet place. I'm called Liam in this hangout here, and unfortunately for everyone, I'm moderating tonight. So, yeah, I know, it's crazy, and it's gonna go wrong in so many ways. But yeah, tonight's hangout, as we said to all of you guys, basically we get together and talk about films and our thoughts on films and all that. And tonight, our hangout theme is actors who also direct as well. And but before we get into any of that, I was wondering if you guys had watched anything interesting this week.
I've been watching a whole lot of musicals. I had like a really sudden craving to watch The Sound of Music because I hadn't watched it in a while, and it's just as fabulous as I remember it from the first time. And then suddenly I was on this whole weird trip on Moulin Rouge and Mary Poppins, and it was a lot of singing going on, a lot of singing and awkward dancing. But it was good. It's a good trip down memory lane.
Oh,
I've finished my recent box set, so I've moved on to a new one on Netflix. So I've gone from, what was I watching? Finished Sons of Anarchy since a couple of weeks. I went through Peep Show again, which is a satirical sitcom that's fairly popular within the UK. So check that out if you like. Really awkward stroke satirical humour. And at the current moment I'm on House of Cards, where you get to see, I want to say Kevin Spacey, be the guy that you love to hate but is the main character, continues to talk to the main camera. I don't know why I'm looking over there. Continues to look at the main camera from time to time in a very Dexter-esque, almost narrating way, but not as imposing as a Dexter. But yes, although it's American politics, it's quite clever to see how he pulls all the strings and fucks around with people's lives. So that's worth watching.
Yeah, it's Kevin Spacey.
I started watching the latest season of Survivor, which is Done. Nobody tell me anything about it if you've seen it.
Can I ask what
Because
Survivor is? I've never seen it.
What? Okay,
I mean,
it's
neither.
on season 28, if that's any indication to you.
Oh, wow.
They've been
Okay.
doing 2 seasons a year since I was in the 4th grade. And it's basically a bunch of people get put on an island and do a bunch of challenges and like talk shit behind each other's backs to win $1 million.
Oh,
Solid.
see, I like those kind of things. We had a Ray Mears Survivors thing, but it wasn't necessarily a competition, as in competing groups. It was a clump of people put on an island, and then they survived for a month on what's around them. So they got, coconuts and stuff. No producers set them tasks or anything. They just survived.
You've got quite a lot of these shows on now. We've got Naked and Afraid is one of them, and Bear Grylls has got like Bear Grylls' Island thing.
A few years back, I had a brief fixation on Big Brother, and one of the times when I was when I was laid off, I actually subscribed to one of those. It was like a 24/7 type of webcam deal where you can watch what the Big Brother people are doing at any particular time of day, and it's like now they're sleeping, now they're
Right.
eating.
I found that concept a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the bathroom cam. You gotta pay premium to see that one.
This is,
You just got to figure out if they're wearing white T-shirts.
You are a creep, sir. I just want to say that.
well, we all knew that, Liam.
That is I had a white T-shirt on it that he's a creep, because if you all know, that means we're all creeps.
Well, we also know that I'm a creep.
Oh yeah.
Giggity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like the whole generated drama thing, the false drama that these shows tend to create.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it is like over dramatized. A lot of it is stage. I mean, not stage, but they send them in that direction and basically manipulate it.
I'm sure that they staged like 99% of the stupid stuff. Because it's like, all right, let's build a shelter. Okay, so if you're supposed to be building a shelter, why is everybody bitching at each other? Like, realistically, that's not how teamwork happens. So there's definitely got to be like producers standing like on the edge, just being like, hey, she said you were a bitch.
Like, hold on, I need to stop building this shelter so I can go over in the corner and talk to these cameramen about my feelings. You know?
They do, yeah, it's ridiculous. But I still
we've got reality TV shows, in inverted commas, called like Towie and Geordie Shore, which mimics Jersey Shore. But those are notoriously guided, as in they go, right, okay, you are human beings and you will react to this situation as you see fit, but imagine that that's your boyfriend and she's been fucking him. Go. I find those things horrific. I think everyone that ever partakes in those should be shot and then their bodies burnt in public to prove that this shit should never be made ever again.
But it's so
the producers, the directors, the writers, and anyone that ever went, no, it's quite funny. At any point, no. Just no.
Oh no, Alan wants to kill Meta.
Yeah, he really does. That confirms my suspicions. That's why I'm never going to England again, because, like, I will be killed by Alan.
It's fine. You've already had a go at me for saying that I don't believe in your equal rights for bacon.
Yeah, well, this feminist wants bacon, okay?
Hold on, what about Made in Chelsea? What are your thoughts on that?
That's the same shit, just in London.
Except we're rich people and we also have problems. Nope.
They don't have problems. Those aren't problems.
The problems
I don't have enough food to feed my children and I might die of malaria. That's problems, not, oh, I don't know which Mercedes to pick. Oh, I need to poddle along to a convention where I'm knobbing another 20 fucking aristocratic wankers. That's not a problem. Oh dear Lord, I've started. I'm so sorry. I shall shut up.
Content is content, brother.
I have too much money. How am I supposed to spend it?
Exactly.
Such a problem. I mean, on terms of money, you know, at least they were born into it. I mean, I won the Nigerian lottery this week. That was fun.
Hmm.
And you still won't share.
Well,
You prick.
I've got to wait for John and Mark to release the funds. I've sent over my bank details.
Okay, that's good.
They wanted bank details, address, a photo of my face, my birth certificate, a real birth certificate, not a copy. It
No,
had
of
to be
course
my
not.
real passport. Yeah, so I'm just waiting now.
That should
Yeah,
be
I mean,
any day.
if I had that type of money, I'd be at all the conventions. I'd be at San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, just touring all over the freaking world.
Alan, I'm so happy for you. Is there any way that I can get a little bit of that?
Yeah, I want some too.
Because that's definitely a legit thing, and I totally believe.
Yeah, it's 100% legit. I mean, once they translate it from Nigerian rand or whatever the fuck it is into pound sterling. Do you remember pound sterling? You know, that's the currency that you're not going to have next year, Liam. So
We've still got it, brother. We've still got it. We're using that. We're milking that like nothing else. I'm using as much of it as I can.
I bet you will. Just you know, suck from the British teat. Very fine.
Hey, that
That
tea is my
is-
tea as well for now. Anyway,
That's cheap.
I'm gonna
Slightly Scottish, almost haggissy.
I'm gonna switch this. You know, to Jenny. Jenny, do you have anything you want to say?
Great.
Only and stuff that we've watched this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get back on topic.
Well,
Take it back, Jenny.
I don't know whether or not it's because we watched one slightly perverted series and then another slightly perverted series, but it seems like they keep picking slightly perverted series, like a bit of lolicon stuff, which I just not happy with having it on my screen. So to remind me that anime is not a creepy place, I rewatched a bunch of Studio Ghiblis. So rewatched.
Black Bullet was this week.
Yeah, I watched your review for that, and I'm like, I'm not watching that. I don't need that in my brain space. So I watched Spirited Away.
There was one 10-year-old naked 10-year-old. It's like, no, thank you. I mean, otherwise it's an okay series. It's just I'm not doing the lolicon.
Okay, I've heard a lot about Studio Ghibli. I've only watched one of their things. That's My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, it's so
I've only ever
sweet.
seen
I rewatched that this week. I rewatched Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, and The Cat Returns, and I love it. And I'm probably going to watch Kiki's Flying Delivery Service tomorrow because that film is fantastic
Yeah, it
and
is.
just adorable and not creepy.
So, like, what? So, Spirited Away, and what else? I'm trying to figure out what else I should watch from there.
Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind.
The big ones that you have to watch or are considered big classics is My Name is Totoro, Spirited Away, and Princess Mononoke. Those are the big three of Studio Ghibli. And then after that, I would recommend Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Flying Delivery Service, and Ponyo.
If we're talking anime series, my three favorite go-tos are Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, and Record of Lodoss War. Those are always worth watching.
I haven't watched the third one, but yeah, go-to for I think any anime fan, Cowboy Bebop is fantastic. And Neon Genesis Evangelion is the biggest mindfuck I've ever experienced.
Yes.
I have no idea what happens to the last four.
Granted, the main protagonist is a bit of a perverted shithead, but other than that.
Pretty much.
Hey, we have someone else new in our midst.
Rhino!
Rhino.
Right.
Hello.
I popped in to say hi.
You're outside.
Yeah, I'm at work.
Still there.
There is sunshine where you are.
Yes. I was not prepared for that amount of sunshine when I went over there. It was
All
great.
that sunshine.
It was only like 3:30 there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3:30.
Rhino, do you have anything that you've been watching since you got back from VidCon that's interesting? You want to share?
What have I been watching? Nothing since VidCon.
I'm the same.
SourceFed, HBO show. What was that they were talking about?
Oh, what was
So
it
is this
called?
behind or something?
Leftovers. Leftovers.
Yeah, the leftovers.
That seemed interesting to me, just because it was from the people who made Lost, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Lindelof, the guy that one of the writers of it. I think he's
Oh, okay.
the creator.
That kind of
Speaking
piqued
of
my
the writers of Lost, does that mean that it's not going to make sense by the time it gets to the end?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just throw in time travel in about season 3 or 4.
Do you know
And a
what? I got to season 3 of Lost and then didn't watch it. I think it's on Netflix. I might watch it, but now I know the end, so fuck it.
Yep. I'm in the same boat, brother. I got to season 4, and I've told this story probably a million times in here, and then it got spoiled for me, and I lost my plot.
Lost.
I was one of those people who just invested so much time with it. And it's like, fuck it, just watch the rest of it, and the shit show that it became.
It was just it was a constant cliffhanger until nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cliffhanger, and then you're underwhelmed. So that's how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is anyone else got anything interesting that they've been watching, or is that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been watching much of anything either. I've been just uploading VidCon content off and on throughout since getting back. And Monday, I was completely comatose, and it's been a slow process getting back to doing shit.
Yeah. So I've just been trying to find the energy and the willpower to edit my VidCon footage together.
Oh yeah, that's a tough.
I'm just putting it mostly all up, just without the edits. I mean, I got a couple of the panels up there and almost their full content, and this other stuff up there that's not really edited much.
I just realized that by having this conversation, we're alienating a fair portion.
Oh, sorry. Right, yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
just
guys.
jealous. I'm so jealous. I'm waiting for you guys to upload your VidCon videos so I can live vicariously through you.
Until
I'm
you
waiting
get
them-
scared.
I'm waiting them to upload so I can unlike because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nasty.
What you do is you flag it as abuse and tell the YouTube that it's offending me, and then after it's done 3 times, their channel disappears. It's brilliant.
High five.
Yeah.
I would just literally work out different synonyms for jealous and just type that on repeat.
That's what Google translates for. It does amazingly well on Danish on Facebook.
I've only uploaded one vlog from VidCon. That's already my most viewed video ever.
Really?
The VidCon ones are getting lots of views. Even on some of my longer videos I've uploaded, it's like it's just a very high demand of videos right now. Especially since we're just off of VidCon, everyone's wanting to find out what happened.
That was the same after Playlist Live. Everybody wants to see what's been going on and different angles of everything and the dance parties and stuff. So it's pretty normal. In the first 2 weeks at least, all of the vlogs get pretty high views because everybody is thinking VidCon was just there.
Right.
Well, that's it. Yeah. If you think of the logic, there's say 30 to 50,000 people that have tickets, and then 300 to 400 million people that use YouTube either in a creator standpoint or in a viewing thing, so they'll hunt them out. The one thing that's bugging me is that if you're going to announce at a conference like that creator features and functionality, why don't you roll them out when you announce them? That's like saying, look, here's the new Xbox that nobody can then get hold of. So from granted, from the VidCon visitors' point of view, I'm really jealous, and I hope at some point I will get to go there. But I wait for the announcements to leak out, and some of the things that are there, you've got the tip jar, which granted I'm not here for money, but I think that's a good idea. They've removed the annotations on certain elements, and I use annotations a lot. They've removed note annotations, but they've not replaced them immediately with their replacement.
Right.
But they've announced and then given beta tests to the larger YouTubers. So give us the features and then remove features. Don't remove features and promise shit we haven't got yet. That annoys me as a creator.
Would you say that you'd be going, if you were going to VidCon, would you go for an industry pass or would you go for just a community one?
I think industry's the day before, isn't it?
Yes, but we ended up doing stuff on Industry Day. Actually, most of what we did was on Industry Day.
Yeah, basically. We just went to like panels and shit like that.
No, not on Industry Day. All the panels on Industry Day were only for industry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
We did all the interactive stuff that day.
Right.
Like the slow-mo booths and the zorbing and that.
I would be tempted to do both, I think. I mean, I like learning, so everything that I've learned in the last year, I've had to learn through research or through watching other vloggers. So the whole standing up with the wall behind me, I won't lie, I've stolen that concept off of, if anything, Hank and John, who I started watching around about that time. So the jump cuts where I move around and I can deliver a punchline closer or further away, I think I learned from them, but I haven't necessarily learned the technical standpoint. So although I put out the content that I do, I still only put it out on a webcam and some really bad editing software called Microsoft Movie Maker. So by no means am I anywhere near the... Granted, I do use Adobe Premiere to polish it at the other end, but compared to like some of the regular YouTubers that have been around for a while, I'm nowhere near as researched as I could be. So yeah, I think I'd be tempted to do industry and then mill about, because you know I'm not huge. I'm no one in the scale of say Philip DeFranco thing. So I don't think there'd be a problem in me learning and then going off to be a twat.
I would just want to go to VidCon to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
was the big incentive for me to go as well, was to meet movie publishers. And it was shit. I hated all of them. They were no fun, and I had the worst time ever.
Oh,
There
totally.
was this asshole that just like wouldn't leave the room.
Hey, don't talk about beating me up like that. Bloody hell, he's a nice guy.
We did run into him there actually.
Yeah, we did.
He never came to our room though.
Yeah, you guys also bumped into KK Cortez also.
Yeah.
Yep. K. Cortez.
Was he invited there, or was he just there as a guest?
He was there on an industry pass,
Oh,
actually.
he was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I
did-
remember
I
him
did-
saying that he wanted to, the next time he was going to go to VidCon, he wanted to be there as like an official invite sort of thing.
I just remember this isn't, no, this conversation was great, but this isn't a VidCon hangout. I just remember and I kind of steered that way, so my apologies, everyone. But yeah, this hangout was in fact about actors who direct films as well. And I've got a couple of questions lined up here. And I'm going to transition into that very smoothly as you are witnessing right now.
So good. So good.
Thank you. Thank you. First question I would like to ask all of you is, what celebrities do you think are apt at directing or good at it? And who do you think should stay away from or who just are shy at it?
Well, the thing is that I don't want the actors I don't like to direct, because usually if I don't like their acting, it's because I don't think that they have anything to do on a big screen, and if they don't have anything to do on a big screen as an actor, if they don't understand their craft, they shouldn't be allowed to direct movies. And this is just because I fucking can't stand Tom Cruise. He should not direct shit, because he is not an accomplished actor in my mind, and I don't think that if he has that understanding of how a movie is supposed to be, he shouldn't direct.
But does that mean he's automatically going to be bad at directing? Do you not think if he was a bad actor, do you think if he's a bad actor that automatically means he's a bad director?
Well, I think that obviously if you're a bad actor, it can either be because one, you had bad direction, or just you're not right for the part, or you're just Tom Cruise and you're really, really bad. And obviously all of those, they don't like they don't even everything out. Like being bad at one thing doesn't mean you're obviously going to be bad at another thing. But I think that in this specific category, if you don't understand, if you can't act a role perfectly yourself, how are you supposed to direct another actor to perform to their best ability in that other role? So I think that being a good actor and an accomplished actor will affect whether you can be a good director, but it's not everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben
Raghu?
Ben Affleck won Best Director, right, in Argo?
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of the
Yeah.
classic example of an actor turned director.
Yep.
Debatable whether he's a good actor or not, but if you see The Town or Argo, I'd say he did a pretty good job acting-wise.
That's true, though. That's true.
But
Exceptions to the rule.
I still need to see Argo.
So, I don't know, so Argo never just captured my attention. It never pulled me in to listen to your trailers. Is it a good film?
yeah, it was good. That wasn't mind-blowing, but I thought it was pretty good, personally.
Well, yeah. Is that just because do you think Ben Affleck's performance in that was because he was directing himself, or do you think, or what?
Well, it's difficult to say because sometimes if you watch a movie and you think that actor does a really shit job, it can either be the director that doesn't really have a clear view of where they're going with the movie and with the acting, or it's just the actor that doesn't understand it. And I think just because it is Ben Affleck, let's talk about Daredevil. There's so much wrong with that. That's just not the understanding of how direction should be and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's because that he was directing himself that it's good. I just think that he maybe understood what it took to make it that much better because he's been doing so shit. I don't know.
Daredevil could be a good example of a bad director and a good actor.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Scenario.
I do think Ben Affleck is a good actor. Just Daredevil, just it should just be removed from the face of the earth.
Alan?
See, I think it's a case of learning. You can be a shit actor, or you can be shit at a specific skill in practice, but teaching you can be different. I mean, there's two examples of this. One, which is a sidestep. His name's Jose Mourinho. He's a very, very, very successful and egotistical football manager that's known worldwide. But in his football career, he was a huge failure. But in football management career, every club he goes to, he can pull such huge qualities out of people. And I'm a Manchester United fan, and he's never managed Manchester United, but I admire the man's brains and skill. And then the flip side, or a mirror image, would be Ron Howard within acting, in which he had a semi-successful part in Happy Days, and then he disappeared. But Ron Howard is known for some of the big films recently, Frost Nixon, Ransom, The Da Vinci Code. So I think it's more of a case of how much you're willing to learn and how much experience you've possibly taken from someone to then dispense it back to them. Because in Jose Mourinho's case, he studied every book in every detail, and though he couldn't do it himself, he was able to inspire people to do so. So I couldn't imagine, say, Arnold Schwarzenegger to direct, but Stallone, who's a very similar action role, I think I don't know, I see him more of a tutor, so I can see Stallone taking someone moulding them and putting out a good product. Whilst Schwarzenegger, I don't know, he just doesn't seem... He seems like someone who can be directed, but can't be a director.
But didn't Stallone direct already?
Stallone has, yes, but Schwarzenegger hasn't.
Oh, Schwarzenegger. Okay, yeah, sure.
But that's what I'm saying. There's two very similar models there, because Schwarzenegger and Stallone arguably have been headlining against each other in films for years, whether it's Rambo or Rocky or anything like that. It's only recently they've come together. But although Schwarzenegger is a what's the word? He's in Congress. He's a head of a state. I still
No, he was.
Governor.
Yeah, governor. I still say that he's being led as a puppet or directed in the direction that he needs to go, rather than a Stallone who I believe actually has the ability to direct others and give guidance.
Have you ever seen any of the basically biographical movies about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
No,
Because he's actually like, he comes across as an incredibly intelligent and sly person when you actually hear him speaking, like, not in a movie role.
I know he's a very dedicated human being. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't knocking him on that standpoint. For anyone that can become Mr. Olympia three years in a row and have the discipline to do that. I mean, talking from a fat man situation, right? I used to play rugby. I was dedicated to playing rugby for a good 3-4 years, and that was a lot of effort. And yet, that's the effort to remain fat and slightly fast. His was to discipline himself to eat and train, and so yeah, and then there are parts in films where he doesn't look just like a musclehead meathead. He does come across quite intelligent, but I don't know. I would love to be proved wrong, but I still don't see Schwarzenegger being the next Steven Spielberg.
Nope.
I don't think he wants to be. I think that he wants to, like, he wanted to be president, so, I mean, he's moved away from that.
Subject to the odd cameo in The Expendables, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that, by the way.
The Expendables film.
I don't know why, because I know it's going to be shit.
Where there's Sly and Schwarzenegger working together to break out of a prison.
Yeah,
Correct?
Escape Plan. Escape Plan.
Escape plan.
Yeah,
That's actually a good film, I would say.
I think he's possibly on a retainer to do like a film a year and get paid way too much money.
I like for that film, it's not the way that action movies are going these days, and the action stars, they always always go along the route of, oh, I'm so old for this shit, you know what I mean? They always talk about how old they are. But it's, like they even made a film entirely around that, Sylvester Stallone versus Robert De Niro fighting, just how old they are. That's the entire film.
Isn't that what Red is about as well? Red and Red 2.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tied.
But Escape Plan didn't have any of that in it. It was actually pretty cool. But yeah, we're obviously getting into another tangent now. I'm going to stall that before it starts. Back on.
I was going to bring up one of the things that, I mean, it's also possible to be like a good TV director, but not necessarily a good movie director. Say, like in the case of Jonathan Frakes, he directed a lot of the Next Generation episodes, but when it came to Star Trek Nemesis, that was kind of like, ugh.
Oh, we all know that Whedon can't do films, right? Whedon's appalling at films. He barely passable on TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, Star Trek Nemesis was basically a shitfest.
I would agree.
Well, I do also believe that it's a bigger undertaking to direct a movie than just like one episode of a TV show, because one episode can basically stand alone. And like the movie is just so much more compact. There's so many more elements to think through than just like a 20-minute episode of like something.
But then again, see, the way TV's going these days, they're unfortunately HBO kind of approach TV where they make like movie-long episodes now. They put such high production value into it.
Yeah,
That's
Game
true.
of Thrones, obviously, Walking Dead, being two of the
BBC
top
Sherlock.
Yeah, exactly.
I still want to know when Carl gets killed off.
hopefully soon.
I do
I
agree.
gave up on that show.
I think you've got to cram in a whole story arc into the film within an hour and a half, or if you're Michael Bay, 3.5 hours, and then a few explosions. But
You mean like 20
whilst
explosions?
a TV series, you can pick on a theme that can last half hour to an hour, and then slowly make the story arc over, 13-hour-long episodes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why George R.R. Martin decided to make Game of Thrones a TV show instead of a movie, because you've got so much going on in that universe, per book as well, that it's hard to cover in just one movie. So they make many movie-long episodes to cover all. But yeah. Tor.
I was going to talk about Sylvester Stallone, but we kind of talked about him a little bit. But I wasn't aware that he was like the producer of all but one of the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I thought he was pretty boss. But I'd like to see him try to produce something that's not a shoot 'em up, blow shit up action movie. See how that goes.
Well, that's actually kind of interesting because what I totally forgot just now. Clint Eastwood, for example, he's usually known for like all these like big like shoot 'em up roles and like old western whatever. But he directed, for example, Gran Torino, which is kind of more low key, and a lot of other movies that you wouldn't expect that type of actor and persona to produce and direct. So I think he's actually like a good example of somebody that would step out of their comfort zone to do something totally different from what they normally do.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that directing and acting are two completely different skills. I mean, someone could be a good director, shit actor, and vice versa, or just be naturally talented at both. It is very distinct in terms of whether you have the ability to lead people in doing what you want, or giving into what they want, or just doing your thing and not giving a shit about what everyone else wants. It's like...
Yeah.
Yep.
Personally, I think a good director encompasses all of those things. He's willing to put forward and lead his own, or her own, sorry, that was very sexist to me, their own ideas and their own ways of doing things, while also taking on board the suggestions of the actors and the people involved in the film. This is coming from a person that's not a director or has never had any experience, so I don't know. Chris?
Yeah, the only experience I've ever had is with the movie video game, so...
This is I think it's a really interesting topic, and part of it is because I think a lot of people, celebrities, actors, view it as a career progression. They'll start off being actors with the goal of being directors, and that's really because directors have more control over a project, whether it's TV or a movie, than the actors themselves. In the case of like Ron Howard, he started off as an actor, and then pretty much a TV actor, because he started off as Opie in Andy Griffith Show, and then Happy Days, and then he started directing TV movies, and he did that in the early '80s, and then he actually directed Splash, and I think that was his breakout, because he started directing bigger stuff after that, like Cocoon and what have you. But I think that was a very dedicated progression for him. They wanted to move into directing. So you get stuff like that. But then there are the other guys, and I don't know if this is where Ben Affleck is going, if he's doing a progression or if he's going to want to direct and keep acting. Because you do have guys who have done that as well, like Robert Redford or Clint Eastwood. So.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out real quick to the people in our Q&A, Sean Louise, Isia J, and let's see.
Sean!
Yeah, they are commenting a bit on the George Clooney, Clint Eastwood, and Ben Affleck are great examples and actors who became better directors. Perhaps this is because experience/maturity, and they gain better understanding of medium as time goes on. For Sean Rees.
But it's also funny to think of the fact that everybody thinks of, it's actor and then director, producer, that it is like a progression. But there are probably some actors that don't want to take that leap because what they're really interested in is the acting itself, like the craft of them actually like entertaining people that way. But the question is more of like, is that actually where we're going now, that our future directors will be old school actors that we used to know for other movies, or if that's the only way you can get into really directing and producing movies?
Is there any case of a director that turned into an actor?
Well, I think a couple of directors put themselves in as cameo, like
Tarantino.
Stan Lee, obviously, he throws himself in practically every Marvel movie for 5 seconds.
He's more of a producer though than a director, I would say.
Oh, true, producer. What's his name?
Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino puts himself into the movies, and then
Peter Jackson as well.
right now, but
Peter
I
Jackson,
think.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright appears in most of his films, but he has very, very subtle cameos. Like, unless you're watching the commentary, you don't get that half-a-second background shot of that guy delivering a pizza 50 feet away.
I would definitely say that Tarantino, his work can never be described as subtle in any way, shape, or form.
And I don't even think it can be described as acting. Just sorry.
See, I think Tarantino does well in Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
But
Didn't see that.
I don't think did he direct? I think that's a Romero's.
I thought that was Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. I knew it was an R.
No, I think a good example of somebody who kind of walked the line, and this is kind of looking back a few years, but is Orson Welles, who he was a director and he also did acting, and he always really tried to balance out the two. Sometimes he directed and he was a director, and sometimes he acted and he was just an actor. But his career was very much like that.
That's actually a really good thing. I didn't think of that.
Jenny, you have anything you want to say?
Well, I think some of the names that immediately popped to mind I've already mentioned, like George Clooney, obviously, and he obviously directed Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, where you can see he's learnt every single trick in the book, and not necessarily formed into the most coherent story, but does a really good job at doing that. It's a really good film. It just occasionally you're like, oh, you're a first-time director. Good job. And he has a brilliant role in that film, where he's completely bizarrely deadpan, and it really works. The other names that kind of immediately pop to mind are Kenneth Branagh, who I absolutely adore, and I like his directorial style, although it definitely suits him more because he's from a theatre background. If you're going with theatrical film, he directs that well. Like Thor 1 is a very theatrical film, so it's well directed, even if the story isn't exactly, it doesn't quite manage to keep up the epic level all the way through. So sometimes the story jumps in and out, but the direction throughout is really beautiful, and I love the original Much Ado About Nothing so much. It's insane. But I really like his work in that. And the one that I think I was expecting Liam to mention, actually, Adam Sandler. For The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Wait, he did that?
Ben Stiller.
Oh yeah.
Ben Stiller.
Sorry.
Ben Stiller.
Oh right.
I get them
Stiller.
mixed up as well.
I think it's hard to see that I'm going red right now, but I am.
I was like, Adam Sandler? Wait, what? He did good things?
I always get those.
Adam Sandler.
I'm going so red right now, it's unbelievable. It might actually even be showing up on camera, despite the white balance.
Don't draw attention to it. That's only going to make it worse.
Yeah, now we'll
This will be my
definitely
face
notice.
for the rest of the hangout. Yeah.
What a beauty.
Yeah, it's better than the original.
Oh, no.
Nothing's better than the original.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I thought he did a really good job, and it's really nice to see when actors are making that progression. If you can see that they've actually picked up a skill set as they have gone through their acting career. So you can tell when you watch George Clooney's film Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, you can tell like he's copied that director there and he's copied this director here. And so you can see every single point where they've really pooled their knowledge from their experience. It's actors perhaps that don't really have that natural innate ability that are then forcing themselves to learn as a job progression. I can't really think of any examples, but that's when it starts to become a bit jarring. Because I got the feeling that some actors naturally want to know every aspect of filmmaking as they're learning, while some really, because they're actors, they want to keep the camera distant from them so that they feel like they can be spontaneous in the scene without thinking, oh, well, the camera's here and I've got to be on my mark here and the lighting's not right, so I've got to look at that angle. I think some of them it really helps their creative process, but I think some of them they find it a bit, I don't know what it is, stigmatizing. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now.
No, I think that's interesting because I bet you would probably never see Daniel Day-Lewis direct because he's such a method actor that it's all probably part of his process, and he'd be very keen to act, but he'd probably never direct.
No.
Yeah. I think the more method they are, the less kind of ability that they would have to direct, because they're not paying attention to the process, they're paying attention to their characters, which is a great thing and also could be a bad thing depending on where they wanted to go with their career.
Oh,
really
definitely.
Good point. Yes.
I had one more question, I think, because we kind of not glossed over, but kind of gone over the other questions as well.
I'm just realizing that too.
But one more question I have for you is, what films that have been directed by actors do you think surpass or are on par with films directed by people who strictly direct films?
Star Trek Nemesis.
Well, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, that's a fantastic film. I don't know whether or not I can't think of any directors off the top of my head that would have that same encompassing vision of the character and of the world, other than perhaps, like, I think animated directors, like directors of animated films like Pixar films, really don't get enough credit because they've got to have like such a intense world-creating vision. It's not, you can't go to a set and then work the lighting. You have to create the entire thing. And honestly, I need to look up some names of the directors who've done animation. I think Jenna should be here for this, but I think they deserve a lot of credit. And of course, they never ever get any sort of credentials because it's all such a collaborative process because everyone's got to be involved in making every single layer of it. But
if they paid their money on though, if in theory with something animated, then you either slap DreamWorks or Disney on it and it sells. Whilst if you're a live action film and they have a completely different cast, but it reads Michael Bay, you expect a Michael Bay film from them.
Yeah.
And then you've got that kind of money value. That's why animation, it can be cheaper cast-wise because you don't.
You don't have to have voice actors.
Yeah, I mean, granted, Toy Story, granted, that's stupidly, hugely packed superstar voice-wise. Same with Shrek, but I honestly believe that you could go back to the early '80s when no one knew any of them, and as long as you've got a good creative mind, you can create the world. Whilst a human live-action film, you have to have a good story and a good actor.
Well, yeah, that's as Jenny said, I wish Jenna was here to talk about this, but it seems that a lot in TV, video games, and movies alike animated. Usually now, like back in the day, you would get voice actors to do that kind of thing, and there are still voice actors that still are about that are strictly just voice actors. But now, yeah, they tend to sell movies like that, based upon like recently How to Train Your Dragon 2. That is packed, filled with superstars. and that's kind
Yeah,
of
I have to say, though, for Jonathan Frakes, Gargoyles was a great animated TV series that he directed, and that was really done well, I think.
yeah. But yeah, are there any other films that people think that are directed by actors that are on par with people that are strictly directors?
Well, I really liked Good Night and Good Luck, which Clooney directed. I thought it was a brilliant, very understated type of movie. I know that a lot of people that watched it with thought that it wasn't anything special, but I think that in its simplicity and the fact that it was black and white, no color, just made it just that much more interesting. And I think he did a really, really great job with how it went. But I wouldn't say that if it was given to another director, that they couldn't do it as well or maybe even a bit better. But I do think that he made a brilliant movie there, and I do really, really love that movie. So I would definitely say that that's on par with what other directors can achieve.
Would you give him a punt at, say, a kind of a tag-on film such as like a Bruce Wayne stroke George Clooney biopic? I mean, would you give George Clooney the right to direct that?
Well,
Someone had to bring that up. I almost completely forgot about it.
We missed you, Kiwi.
Yeah, we was Kiwi.
Jenny just put in the chat just there, M. Night Shyamalan, he does cameos in his films.
That's from the YouTube comments, it's not my quote.
yeah, Mad Leaves fan apparently, I think, noted that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Matt
but
Lee's
Shyamalan's
fan.
a really good director. Let's not credit him for being a good actor either.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
To be honest,
Personally, I think
I didn't know I'd watched a Shyamalan movie until fairly recently, like The Village. I didn't know that was a Shyamalan movie. Now I look back and I realise what a Shyamalan twist is, which is like, here's the film, here's the furthest from what you thought could possibly happen. There you go, enjoy. Right? So I didn't realise I was watching or had watched those films. I might go back and watch them, but he's now become such a trademark of his own twist that you kind of expect something rather than are surprised by something.
I have watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that is the only M. Night Shyamalan film I've watched.
That is.
Sigh.
That was so bad.
I watched Devil, I think it is. That's an M. Shyamalan. I was actually really excited about that when I watched the trailer, and then watching the movie, I was like, oh, that's what people are talking about when M. Shyamalan directs a movie. Like, okay, I get it now.
Is that the one about the people in the elevator?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that film was kind of different from like the M. Night Shyamalan thing, where you were constantly expecting twists and turns. It wasn't just like normal, sort of like leading you down a path, like Alan said, then going far away from it. It was like you were constantly, like Cluedo, you don't really know who, you're constantly expecting a change in a twist.
No, yeah, of course, the idea is that you don't really know who the devil actually is in here, and everything keeps shifting, but the point of the movie is also that the focal point is directed at one person a bunch of the time, and then that person dies or something, and then it shifts to another person, and then the movie ends basically. So it's it wasn't really that great of a movie, to be fair.
Yeah.
I can't deny. I haven't seen it.
Don't.
It doesn't sound like a fun film to watch in any version of fun.
5 people trapped in an elevator.
Yay!
Woo!
One
There
person,
are no
don't
Jay.
Paul, you agree with me?
I see a J which says that she was quite intrigued by Ron Howard's Apollo 13. I would agree with that. I mean, the quality of the Apollo 13 film I wouldn't have expected from Apollo from Ron Howard of Happy Days fame. But I guess that just proves that people develop into much more skilled areas that you realise. Like I know this is not a popular opinion, right? I personally never expected Joss Whedon to be given the chance he was with movies, and I'm more than happy with what he's done. Don't get me wrong, but I just never expected that the film industry would actually grow a set of balls and give him the chance, because the amount of time they fucked him over with a TV series, for them to then go, well, there you go, have Avengers, especially Avengers. It wasn't just a little thing. It's here's an entire Marvel franchise. Fuck this up. We're gonna have to reboot it again. We're now gonna have the 5th Hulk movie, right? It's like, come on.
I think that's an excellent example of a director who's surpassed everyone's expectations, especially with the comic book franchise, expecting it to fail, and it just blows everyone's mind, especially with whether it's Avengers 1, 2, or even the latest Captain America movie. The second Captain America movie was fantastic.
Oh, I think fantastic is a bit of an overstretch. Just, love it.
Enjoyable. And it was surprisingly okay.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Surprisingly.
I did enjoy it too. It was surprisingly okay.
DVD case, wouldn't you? This feels wonderful. Surprisingly okay.
Surprisingly okay.
Half a thumb up.
Not as bad as you would hope it wouldn't be.
I just just meh. Meh.
Meh.
Yeah. Meh.
3 stars. Meh.
I kind of figured it out halfway through.
Do you think Movie Club Strikes Back should start our own review site and just pick a film and then try and do one-word reviews? I think that would be an
All just be either awesome or meh.
How many movies are going to be meh?
Meh.
Yeah.
All of them.
We'll just have a sliding scale of 10 different words that we can choose, and meh is like the solid 5 right in the middle.
Meh, George Clooney, 50 Shades of Grey, nipples. I think that covers most of the opinions. Yes, Alan, be happy.
It gives Tor a chance to pretty much photocrop Liam's face into every DVD cover, and then
No.
Twitter and get it retweeted 6 to 7 times while he's in VidCon.
No, I forbid it.
Put Liam's face on everything.
No, for people that don't follow my Twitter, right? Thor did a picture of Liam's head on a lolcat picture. I shared it with one person on Twitter. It's now been shared with 6 people on Twitter, multiple retweets, and it's even liked on multiple times my Facebook account. I think I've got too many people following me that are active. It's a little bit creepy.
Or they just love
Liam
creepy. Scottish cat.
Yeah, Scottish cat.
Oh god. Meta?
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try and bring it back quickly. If I can remember. But yeah, Liam as a lolcat? No. I think that what we discussed with the whole Ron Howard being maybe not a good actor, but being a good director, I think that bringing it back to what I talked about in the beginning, that you can be one and not the other, I think that it requires a specific sort of skill set to be a really, really good actor, and it requires a totally different one to bring out something really, really great of actors. If you have a really motivational personality and you know which direction you want to bring things in, I think that is completely different from the persona or from the actor that you are. But of course, it will affect each other in the fact that if you are an actor, you would have experienced this before, and you would have tried a lot of different directors pulling you in a lot of different ways and making you do a lot of different things. And yeah, that would affect how you would want to see things when you're a director. That came out a bit messy, but I think you understand what I mean.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the comment section myself. Handsome Quacker writes, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong is doing so terrible with his movies now that studios are going away with his twist in the trailer, just like After Earth. But I also heard After Earth is a nod towards Scientology too. So yeah.
Wow.
Woo.
Boom. Also, hey, handsome quacker, old school LTR.
What's up, Nancy Quacker guy from New Movie Club saying hi?
Well, actually, yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, no, what I was saying about the directors and what have you, I think it's, the way I've always kind of viewed it is just that there's almost like a trilogy that kind of makes a movie work or doesn't work. One being the actors, two being the directors, and third being the writers. And they all have kind of their different areas where they have to affect the film or the project. Because the writers are very much concerned about the story, and they got to get that right. The actors are very much concerned about character and character development and how to bring that in. And the directors kind of have to fuse all that and bring it up so they can put it on on the screen so everybody can kind of understand what the writers are trying to say, what the actors are trying to get across as far as the characters. So I think it's really interesting when you see a director come up from out of the acting pool, because now they've had that character study, and now they got to bring it all together. And when you look at a movie, you can really say, it will fail because the actors weren't very good, or the director wasn't very good, or the writing wasn't very good. But it takes kind of all three of them put together to make a really great film.
That's true. That's very true. But I also think that if you have an actor, they have a great understanding of that everything needs to work together to create a great movie. But obviously, as you say, like, one thing can't be really great without the other things also helping along. But I think that the more and more actors that start to become directors have a greater understanding of what is needed to make a role great, that it's not just them, it is also the other things that need to work perfectly in sync to create a great story and a great movie. But yeah, so true.
Yeah, but I don't think it's obviously not a new phenomena.
No.
Because you look back, like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, they started directing, after they had been, established as actors. So there's been a long tradition of, guys who have started off, or actors who have started off in that profession, and then moved on to directing. I think part of that is, again, just wanting to have more control over the projects and wanting to kind of bring their vision forward. I don't think it's going to necessarily, become more and more prevalent, because I think there are actors out there who are going to find that they're just good at acting and not so good at directing, and actors who want to stay in that profession, who are dedicated to that craft. But I think we will continue to see people try and move up that sort of power ladder within the industry, moving from, because it is easier, I think, to gain control as an actor than an upcoming director.
Oh, definitely. Like, I am waiting for the day that I see a Jennifer Lawrence directed movie, because we all know that at some point that probably will happen, because the lady has an Oscar behind her and everybody loves her. So, like, I don't know, 5-10 years from now, maybe a Jennifer Lawrence directed movie.
As long as it doesn't go the other way and we get like a Megan Fox directed movie, because that would be horrific.
I think you're talking about porn.
Yes, I am. But would you direct a triple penetration cream pie? I mean, just come on.
Me personally?
Do it for the kids.
Yay, Jenny!
Okay, that's triple penetration.
I was looking
for the kids.
Porn with Megan Fox, but maybe I won't go there.
Blushing person there. Do you have something you want to say?
I'm just going to draw a sad face on a post-it and put it up in my bed. In the meantime, my point was I would be interested to know how many, if we're talking about what would be traditionally considered the ladder in terms of Hollywood, if we're going with what's traditional, it would be stage acting, TV acting, movie acting, directorial. film directorials. Of course, that's changing because TV is really moving up into a whole other gradient. But it is like if you're going off that sort of level, I'll be really interested to see the actors who are aiming to become directors who started from a theatre background, because when you're doing theatre acting in comparison to when you're doing movie acting, because you're having to repeat the performance more consistently over a period of time, you really have to pay more attention to where you're being directed to. It's a bit less kind of naturalistic. You have to pay attention to your marks. You have to be hyper aware of things like staging and where you are in relation to the audience, who you're facing, who you're blocking. Because with cameras, the cameras can dance around you. You can be in an environment. If you're in a film, you can be in an environment. You can mess with props no matter how you like. There's a lot more kind of, in a way, freedom. While if you're on stage, there's limited space, there's limited props. You've always got to be facing a certain direction. You've always got to be able to project. So I think stage actors have a naturally more developed directing ability because they have to be more aware of consistent directing. So I'll be really interested to see that progression if there are people who maybe have started from a TV or started from a movie business place and haven't gone through stage acting to begin with, because I know that a lot of actors don't do that now, and I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of actors have a less physical performance, because they haven't had that drilling from an early stage. And I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but basically I'll be interested to see how many directors started from a theatre background, just because it's a very different system.
I would agree with that. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
you get your dominating roles. Patrick Stewart's a good example. If you compare Patrick Stewart to William Shatner, that's the difference between Royal Shakespeare Company and overacting here. But Patrick Stewart and there's a lot of them coming out of the Royal Shakespeare Company. You've got Patrick Stewart. What's his face from Doctor Who? Tennant. David
Tennant.
Matt Smith, I believe, was also Royal Shakespeare Company. I may be wrong. And then 90% of Harry Potter. You know, so that shows that yes, that's grounding and repetitive elements and theatre. So that pushes them forward. But I also find that theatre performers are more confident in themselves because it is so fucking cutthroat. I mean, there's thousands of people wedged through one door to get one role. And prime example of that from YouTube, Carrie Hope Fletcher. She does theatre performances. She's currently in Les Miserables. She's going to be touring with War of the Worlds. She's very animated on camera, but also on stage, and you can see how she can command a camera. So I'd like to see how she would act within a recorded environment. But I do believe Patrick Stewart kind of touches upon that. But I'd like to see Patrick Stewart direct, because obviously he must have some part in how he's perceived in like the X-Men films and stuff like that, or at least gives advice, I guess.
It would be very interesting because he's kind of dabbled in almost everything. He's dabbled in theatre, TV, and movies.
Yeah.
So
I've seen Patrick Stewart live. I saw him in The Tempest. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, he's been around for years, absolute fucking years, but he doesn't really age.
He's been the same since I was born.
It's a medical miracle.
He's a vampire.
Yeah,
That too.
Yeah, I think one of the first things he was, at least I can remember seeing him on screen, was he was in Excalibur, the movie Excalibur.
Oh, he was?
And yeah, he looks kind of the same as he did, as he does now. You know, you go look, yeah, Excalibur and then Dune. He was in Dune, so.
Yeah, he's been around forever.
I'm surprised I didn't notice that, because Excalibur is like my favorite reiteration of the King Arthur thing. I have to go back and watch it again.
Well, I just noticed that we're kind of running over time now, so I was wondering if we could all wrap up now and go down the order and tell anyone if we have any upcoming projects or things we're working on just now that you want to get out there.
My name is Backsorn. Like I said, I talk shit about movies and sometimes anime, and when I'm not doing that, I'm stalking your movies and making it easier for other people to stalk your movie reviews. Also, I'm uploading a lot of VidCon shit, so you can go to my channel, youtube.com/Backsorn, and see all the fun footage that I have. Sometimes it's 30 minutes plus, so there you go. Next.
All right, again, Christopher, you can find me at Easy Chair Reviews for Movie Club Strikes Back or on the Twitter at ReviewEasy.
And my name is Meta, aka Meta Medicine. You can find me anywhere under that. I post many selfies on Instagram, so if you don't want that, don't follow me. I tweet a lot of horrendous stuff. I do movie reviews on the YouTubes. I also do fitness videos, and I have a lot of shit coming up. Also, the TMI tag that humanity started has now moved on to me, which should be very interesting, and that should hopefully be posted up sometime next week or the week after. And yes, Movie Club's the only Danish person, so subscribe to me if you want someone to yell at you angrily in Danish.
I'm Alan, I'm Mr. Hairy Brits, that's my channel. I do movie reviews, I do vlogs. I've just passed, since our last live broadcast, I've just passed my 1 year anniversary on YouTube. I'm closing up to 2,500 subscribers now. I seem to be accelerating, so thank you very much. This Tuesday we are continuing our theme of movie remakes, but the originals. And we are reviewing Total Recall, the Arnie Schwarzenegger version, so feel free to take
The
part.
better version.
And I've recently changed the end of those now, so it's kind of a bit more framed. So therefore, if you haven't seen that, if you was at VidCon or something, you bastards, go back and check that out, and you'll get to see that. Or if you're Danish and you missed it, then you don't love me. So yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah, but you're not in it. You don't submit because you don't.
That's because I don't love you, Alan, and you know this. We've talked about this already. I denied your proposal because I don't love you. Really? How many times do I have to tell you that I like a Scottish accent in my men?
In your men. Not coming out of your men, just in your men.
Just going in my men.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
really
take
do.
it and then wait somewhere. Anyway.
But yeah, Alan, I love you.
Hey!
Jenny, Smith, I love you. I love you too.
Thank you.
Jenny.
I'm just bemused by the previous conversation. I'm not really doing anything particularly special at the moment. My life is a bit on the insane side. But hopefully I will be catching up on my reviews, including my pick, which was last week's pick for Movie Club, which was A Sing in the Rain, and it's an awesome film and it's a movie classic. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's fantastic. And if it rains in England, which I hope it will, which it hasn't been, but I hope it will, then I will probably maybe do some dancing in the rain.
Yes.
That would be fun.
Yes.
But I will have to take the camera to a secluded spot somewhere in my village so I'm not dancing around in the rain within sight of people. But yes, please do watch that film, and hopefully I'll just be catching up on my reviews, and if Anime Club picks a non-creepy anime, I may be reviewing it, but Lolicon is making me terrified to actually go near Crunchyroll at the moment. That's it. Sorry.
Okay. I'm Tor. You can find me at Tor's Times pretty much on the entire internet. And I have biked a leisurely 10 miles. Woo!
My name is Liam on these Hangouts, servitors everywhere else on the internet. I also take a ridiculous amount of selfies, far too many for a man to take. Let's be honest here. But
Preach.
But yeah, I'm just back from VidCon. We're posting a couple of those vlogs up. I've got movie reviews to catch up on. I'm really stoked to watch Total Recall now that you've just mentioned it. And yeah, more importantly though, this is Movie Club Strikes Back, the channel. Please do subscribe to this channel. We've got this thing. We've got this hangout every Saturday. We also, as Jenny said, have this movie pick where one of our own picks a movie and the rest of us review it. So yeah, we've got Watch Jenny's pick and upload a review for it, and in the future we have a few special guests coming up from the SourceFed network and the YouTube network, and they're all quite some fairly big YouTubers out there doing us little favors. So that'll come up. Be ready for that. And yeah, this hangout was okay. We stayed on topic a wee bit. Totally
Well, that's a normal hangout, really. Where
Yeah.
it's like the point and then us. Woo!
Exactly. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to all these lovely people. We really do need to. They're all fantastic. I'll see you next time.